Hello, welcome back to the channel. So this video we're going to have a look inside the Messerschmitt BF 109 G2-4 from Revell in 1/32 scale. Now this is the contents straight off the bat. So you get a whole load of bags of sprues. I've dropped one on the floor, it's a repeater sprue. Second bag of that, and you get your instructions with the decals in the middle. So we'll come to that in a second. As you can see, all bagged, all very much really what you get in the G6 or the G10, which has been out for a while, but I think you'll find this is your new bit. So this is where you've got a new cowling, sides to the cowling as well. It's sort of made up. You've got the upper cowling, the cowling sides, different wing sections where you've got the smooth ones, or you've got little bulges there as well, which takes the wheels as they go up inside, just gives them a little bit of clearance. A few little changes like that. So we'll get into this and see what we got. Now interestingly, I bought this one from Jadlam online, and it didn't come with the clear parts, and that's a packing error. It's nothing to do with them. They were very good actually and sent off for me, and this is what turned up from Revell. About 2 weeks. They did message me and say we don't have any in the UK, but they sent it straight from Germany, and there it is. So that was completely missing. It's not in here. It's nothing here. It's all packed, as you can see. Nothing else in the box. So there we are. So that's good of them. Very happy with that. So what we've got is the two different windscreens, the rear canopy, the centre section, which is the squared off type, and then we've got another sprue with gun sights, wingtip lights, and the fuel line that runs on inside the cockpit. So glad to have that. I think it's best we probably start with the instructions, and then we can see where we are. So as discussed, I will take the decals out and we'll look at them in a minute. So I think we can see everything there. So what we've got here, and you know, different to the G6, is this really fills the hole. So this gives us all of the Gs within reason in a Revell boxing one way or another. Whether you can get hold of the G10, I know it's a bit tricky at the minute, but it will, you know, it will come back out. So we can now do a G2, G4, G6, G10. And then there's obviously later ones like the G14, and then you're starting to roll into the K. So what they've really done is all the variants you can get out of the single kind of tooling that they did for the fuselage. That will go from G2 all the way through, just changing cowling panels and things like that. So usual stuff, Revell colours in the call out. Then we've got a sprue map as well, and like I said, I think mainly we're looking at this being the new bit. As far as the G6, I believe it comes with both types of canopies. The G10 only comes with the late canopy. They all have this sprue, but as you look through, all of this is the same. I think even the wheels are the same. I think it's here that's different for this part, and then obviously they're different in the other parts, because obviously the 109 G6 has got gun bulges, so on and so forth. So as it builds up, it's exactly the same as the other Gs. So it's all cockpit sidewalls, putting a tub together, sitting on top of a spar, and then we put the fuselage around that. Once we've got a few other small bits done in the fuselage with the tail wheel, we then put the exhausts on, a few little things you need to drill out and fill and change here just for the different variants. You need to pick whether you're going to do a G2 or a G4 from the beginning. Then we're sandwiching that together, and then the cowling panels go on, which a little bit worried is the side panels look fine, but that top panel is a bit gappy in the test model. But we shan't take Revell test models to give us an idea of how it's going to fit. They always look a bit funny, shall we say. So cowling panels go on, supercharger intake, sorting out the chin radiator, getting that on. Then we've got the different types. So this is for G2 or G4, like I was saying. So these are the different sections on the initial part of the wing. So from the wing root going through to the rest of the wing, and that's to cater for the different types of wheels. So the well, I don't know if it is different types of wheels, it's the way it sits. So the G4, it's got the bulge, so the wheel tucks up into the wing, and the G2, it sits more flat, and that's like a carryover from previous models, which is like the F. So the G2 is a very early version coming out from the F, and then it goes into the G4, and then it goes into the G6, and on it goes. Slight tweaks and different armaments and things like that. So once you've got your fuselage set to kind of this, with the wing root sections of the wing on, then you've got the lower section of the wing comes up and clips into that, and then you've got an outer section of the wing that goes on there. So that's kind of the way they build it up, and then your wing's completely done. Then you go into the flaps, slats, ailerons, and they're all pretty good by the looks of it. Positionable, one would hope. It's nice to have it all hanging out on these G's. And then we've got a few smaller bits going on, slats going on there, forward ones, and then we've got the navigation lights, different top to the fin there. Slightly unusual way of doing stuff as far as attaching the rudder. There's these little like tabs that the rudder kind of clips onto, which is happening here. So we're putting the rudder together around these little tabs that hold it. Horizontal stabilizers with the elevators going on, making up the tail plane. Then we've got different tail wheels, G2, G4, it's a bit bigger on the G4. And then the landing gear goes together. The gear legs are in two halves. That's unusual. So see how that comes together. Different types of wheels as well. So G2, G4, and then G4 only, which is a slightly later style of wheel down here, which is more kind of ribbed rather than smooth. It's got like sections. See it quite often when you're doing Messerschmitts, later ones. Landing gear going in, looks like a good strong join. We've got showing you how it's meant to sit, so make sure you get your angle right. Got an in-flight option there, which is unusual, not often and given in these sort of kits, so that's a good thing if you like that. And as we go on through, we've got drop tank going on, and then different sections of the windscreen. So we've got an internal section of the windscreen there where the armour's inside, the middle centre section as well, rear canopy going on, and then onto the prop to finish up. Closed canopy or open canopy. Again, a few other little differences with the G2, and then we're on to the markings. So this is Troutloff's G2, one of the nicest markings on the G2s. These were used in Russia, and this says here August 1942. Quite a strong top camo there with 3 tones to it. It's always an interesting one. And then you've got the yellow underneath as well, which gives you the date. It looks late, but then you've got the yellow, which gives you that connection to the more earlier 109s. And then you've got the G4 here as well, which is again in Russia. Quite a complex scheme there. This is Winkle 2, Major Gordon Golob. So you've got Troutloff and Golob. And now you've got again the yellow. Slightly more washed out on this one, and it is given as that, but I would have thought, well, I won't speculate, usually it's ROM 04 and it is what it is, but there must be some reason why this has been highlighted to be a little bit lighter. So that's the straightforward kind of build sequence. Now we've got the first highlight of this kit, which is probably the best decal sheet I've seen, full stop. Really, it's absolutely fantastic. I'm noticing this with Airfix, Revell, everyone is using Cartograph, not Edward. Every sheet is getting better and better. The film's getting tighter. There is absolutely no carrier film on this. Where is it? Can't find it. There isn't any. It's around the crosses, no carrier film. Or, you know, so little that it's not noticeable. Even on the chevrons, it's cut right in here. Let's see if we can get this on camera. Now you might be able to tell that there's a slight, tiny section of carrier film just here at this point. Incredible stuff, absolutely incredible. On the crosses, can you see that? We got the white going out and then it goes to matte. The matte is where the carrier film would be, it's not there. The 2, staggering. There's that chevron again, look, see? The shine is where the decal is. So again, there's absolutely no carrier film. Incredible. Sorry about these noises. The cat has appeared and there's an empty box, and she's gonna see if she can join those two together. Cat, empty box, to make a cat in a box. So there we are. Very impressive. So let's start with the clear parts. Now this is what happens if you bag it together. You've got a bit of crazing there on the top of the centre section. That's about it. There's a little bit on the windscreen as well. Should come out with a bit of polish, to be honest. It shouldn't have to do it. It is scuff marks from having this sprue doing this over the top of it. But, you know, there's no point saying anything. They're not going to change. Airfix is starting to package a little bit better, certainly when it comes to clear parts, but Revell don't seem to worry about that. Obviously showing a little bit of flash because this is reusing sprues from a very well used tooling, very popular model, the G6. But again, flash is fine, we can deal with that. Don't even really know what that is. Oh, it's the, well, it really is bad flash. That's the gun sight there, but it's in quite a section of plastic. There's another gun sight here as well. Wingtip lights, and then the fuel sight glass. Well, the fuel line with the sight glass in it. So that's nice. I might actually not put them back together. So we've got two bags of this, which are duplicates, so we only open one. Do we need to open it? Probably not. It's quite clear. So we've got some reinforcing strips on these horizontal stabilizers, some quite heavy raised detail here on the elevators, very heavy in fact. Might want to just knock that back a tiny bit. We've got one type of the wheels, the smooth wheels, well the ribbed wheels actually, not smooth. Grills for the radiator, the larger tail wheel, and then we've got the smaller tail wheel there, and then the earlier type wheels, which I think they're done quite well actually. I think there's a backing plate that needs to go in between that, might be wrong. And then we've got two of the propeller blades, and we've obviously got a repeat, so we end up with 4 propeller blades like so. Right, and then we'll have a look in here. So this is the main part of this kit, as I said. So here we can see the different sections of the cowling. So we've got the very smooth as well, a couple of panel lines. There's the scoops. That's one of the main difference. You get multiple intake scoops going on through, and then as you say, this is the early wing root section without the bulges for the wheels. So the wheel sits in there, whereas on the other one it actually just tucks up a little bit in there as it comes up. It just pushes it just slightly up. So that's the main difference. To backdate it to a G2, you've got the upper cowling as well, which is different to the G6, but applicable for the G4, all of this. The main difference for the G2 and G4 are these sections here. A few other little bits here and there. All looks very nice, no problem there. Very much like the rest of the kit. And we've also got a bit more on the rudder there. See, it is a little bit heavy. This is what we got on the ailerons as well, this kind of heaviness. I mean, it's okay, but it's meant to be stitching, so I mean it is quite raised there, but I don't think sanding that down is going to be really going to have the effect that you want. Then we got the last main section. So on here we have the big piece of fuselage. Sorry, it's white on white, I can see the problem. So we've got this open section here. It can be a bit of an issue in placement of the side cowlings and upper cowling, but it does all go together. I've seen builds where it's done nicely. You do have this sort of pane where you've got moulded on seat belts, so if you want to add your own seat belts, you've really got to try and get rid of all that, or get an aftermarket seat. It's cockpit floor, it's got nice detail on it. Instrument panel's nice as well, and we've got decal instruments, so that's all looking pretty good. And then we've got the top section of the outer wing as well. No rivets, shouldn't be rivets actually on these. They were all puttied, so they should be super smooth. Then you've got the large section of the lower wing with the correct holes there in the wheel wells. You've got propeller, cockpit sidewalls, which are a nice highlight, really nice touch. Then you've got ailerons, elevators, hang on, not elevators, ailerons, rudders, ailerons and flaps. So if we look here, you got that raised detail again, which might be too much for some. Glare out, there you go. So you got the circles and the raised stitching in the ribs. I think the easiest way out of that is actually trying to get aftermarket resin ones. I think Barracuda do some, and Alley Cat do a bit as well. There's a little bit of riveting there. Adds a bit of detail. And then we got the other fuselage section here, you can see, and then we got gear doors, two types, in flight and not. The other section of the wing, exhausts, obviously not hollowed out, no slide moulding or anything like that. You got the oxygen hose here, which is a nice section because that's blue, so that makes that easy. You can paint all of that blue and then stick it on. Wing spar, nice raised rivet detail on the inside of the wheel wells. So very nice. Bear in mind this kit is around the sort of £20 mark, 20 to £25. There's an awful lot going on there in the box. So there we are, that's my thoughts on the Revell Messerschmitt BF 109 G24. I think it's a very good kit for the price. That's the thing to remember, it's very, very cheap, this. I think the only real other game in town is the Hasegawa kit, so if you can pick it up at the same price, you're probably dealing with a simpler build, slight less detail. Maybe it's on the same part. I expect there's a bit more detail in this one, much more modern tooling, and the way it goes together. However, with the gaps around the cowling, it can be a little bit problematic, but it's simple enough to get going. I think it should be a relatively straightforward build, even though it is up at level 5. You just need to take your time and understand it's a bit complex. So there we are. Hope you enjoyed that. I think it's a worthy addition in the Revell line, and it's nice to now have G's in 1/32 scale pretty much catered for, whereas before, trying to get the Hasegawa kits was a bit of a problem. So thanks for watching, and as always, stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.